Is the stock market selling about to resume again today? We see the fear and greed index is now out of extreme fear territory. We're sitting in fear at 26. And let's not forget, this morning at 8:30 a.m., we have a slew of economic data, which could also be one of the catalysts that could get the selling started today. However, the 8:30 news might not be the most important news that we need to pay attention to this morning. Let's start off, look at this article right here. 3 different factors could trigger the third wave of a stock market pullback. I don't really want to talk about the 3 different factors, but I want you guys to focus on this chart right here. This shows how much the stock market has declined and how much all the other assets have, basically recovered back. Look at the Nikkei down here. The Nikkei had the most extreme move down, and the Nikkei is still down 10% from when this selling actually started back on July 18th. Where if you look at the DAX and the S&P 500, they're only down roughly 2 or 3% going back towards July. Now, one of the things that they talk about is basically the AI hype could be what starts the next wave of selling. And what do they mean by the third wave of selling? Well, think about this. If you look at this graph, they consider this as wave 1. Then you get a corrective move on the wave 2. And then the third wave would be the next wave of selling, which they said is likely going to push us back down towards the lows or even lower. Now, think about this as when we talk about the A to B equals C to D pattern. Now, if that is going to hold true and we sit there and we draw that pattern out for, let's say, the NASDAQ, that would be an A to B equals C to D move. And that would give us a price completion all the way down here at 384.80. Now, I'm not saying that is going to be in the cards. That's not really what I'm looking for at this moment. Could that develop into that? Yes, it most certainly could. That's just not the likely outcome in my personal opinion. What I'm looking for the NASDAQ and the S&P and the indices as a whole would be to start seeing a little bit of weakness and start to come back down, either forming a higher low or an equal low or maybe a slightly lower low. Not drastically, but slightly lower low. But before we worry about that, let's take a look at the VIX this morning. The volatility index is up 9 cents on the session. And yesterday we were down more than 10%, which indicates that today or tomorrow is likely going to be an update in the market. However, it's nothing more than a stat. Nothing is guaranteed. We look at the dollar index. We see a little bit of weakness out here this morning, but that is likely going to change drastically once we come into this 8:30 news. We have a lot of news. We have core retail sales. We have the weekly unemployment claims. We have the Empire State Manufacturing Index. We have the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. Then we have an FOMC member speaking at 9:10 this morning. Now, if you're a gold bug out there, we come over and look at gold. Gold's back on the move out here today after suffering a beating out here yesterday. And we'll see, does gold, start to make a push back above the swing high? I do think gold is going to try to make its way towards breaking these swing points. It's just trying to build cause to get the momentum it needs to push up and out. Now, keep in mind with gold, we are looking for a target up here at about 25.86. That's as long as we can break above these recent swing points that we have out here in the markets. Now, as we look at crude oil this morning, crude oil, a little bit of a bullish tone to crude oil, up 80 cents on the session. Last 2 sessions have been down in crude oil, and look right where we come to, right to the area that I said, watch out for. This could be an area where the market could potentially firm up. Also, it's right towards the lower end of this widespread candle. And when we talk about, selling in the market, will selling occur? Well, it's going to be very important. Let's not forget Gaza ceasefire talks to resume without Hamas in attendance. So let me get this straight. So you're going to work on a ceasefire. However, both parties aren't going to be there. To me, that sounds like a recipe for disaster to where the talks can simply just fall apart really quick. If that happens, that could mean more escalation over in the Middle East, aka watch out, the stock market could have a rapid drop. Even if we go up this morning after the news comes out, we still got to be very mindful. This could cause a quick reaction in the stock market to the downside. If the talks fall apart, that could give Iran the ammunition it needs to go ahead and attack Israel. Now, let's not forget, we are in the midst of earnings season. Last night after the bell, Cisco had earnings coming out, but today we had Walmart, we have Alibaba, we have Adhere all coming out before they open. And let's go take a look at some of those stocks. Let's see how these stocks are actually moving this morning. We take a look at Cisco. It is way up here in the chart. Cisco's up 7.15%. We take a look at Alibaba real quick. Alibaba is down 4.61%, which means we're going to have gaps out here in the market. Then we take a look at Walmart. Walmart in pre-market is up 6.39%. Can anybody say new all-time highs, trading all the way up here smoking through all the all-time highs. Then we take a look at adhere. Adhere also gapping up 2.2%. Now the question is, will this be enough to lift stocks today, or is the selling about to resume? We come over and look at the diamonds. The diamonds made it past the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. And now we're going to see, as we start to come right into this minus development area where we're trading, do we start to get a rejection back down? Or are we going to come all the way up here, filling the gap at 403.20? The MACD indicator is just now trying to cross on the way up. And this has been a pretty straight leg move up. However, it was also a straight leg down. But on the move down, we had a little bit of warning. We had a double top pattern. We had no type of double bottom pattern. It's just basically a V-shaped bottom at this moment. We come over and look at the Russell 2000, the small caps. Russell 2000 still unable to go ahead and fill any of the gaps from last week. We came close, but we just haven't been able to do that just yet. The Russell 2000 is up a whopping 9 cents in pre-market. I want to make everybody aware, Apex having a 71% sale off all their evaluation, 50% off reset fees. If you want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below and use promo code Mike at checkout. And as we come over and look at the NASDAQ, we can see on the daily chart, the MACD indicator has now crossed to the upside. Now, if we look out here on the 1 hour chart, MACD indicator is screaming to the upside, good separation of the lines, but I am a little bit worried about the gap that we have below us. Then as we come over and look at the hourly chart, see the MACD indicator starting to show signs of weakness where it could start to roll over here at any minute. Then on the 30-minute chart, you can see the MACD indicator is already crossed to the downside. However, if we sit there and hang out near these levels, we get back down towards the zero line, that could be nothing more than a recharge point to see the market start ripping and roaring to breaking out these recent highs that we had in the market. Now, when we look at the volume profile, notice we had a D as in dog shaped profile. We got to be very careful. That means we can have a breakout or breakdown pattern. And the way that we first break quite often can be a false break, aka a trap being set. We have value area high coming in at 463.60. The point of control comes in at 462.17. Value area low coming in at 461.02. Note, if we're trading above value area high, there's no need to be looking on the sell side of the market. If you're really aggressive and you want to short the market, let's see, can we break above yesterday's high and then we start coming back down? Then we could go ahead and target all the volume profile levels to the downside. Then let's not forget, we might have a multiple day trade starting to set up where we can come down towards gap support at about 455.83 and then come all the way down here, completely fill in the gap. All right, now as we come over and look at the NASDAQ, actually, this is a chart from last night. Speaking of last night, if you guys want to join me during the live streams, I got a secret for you. It's very simple. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button down below and make sure you have the bell notifications turned on for all. So as we come over and look at the NASDAQ real quick, the 4 hour chart, what do we see? We still have not completed the ABC pattern to the upside at 19,312. Could we make it there today? We most certainly could. You can see that from 2 weeks back, we were able to take out the untested point of control, the untested value area low. How far is the market going to go? Keep in mind, this ABC pattern is right near the next high volume area. If we can clear that, we'll probably start to get a rejection somewhere in this minus development area if we don't start to get a rejection before that point. Coming out here and look at the daily chart. Notice we did not hit the untested point of control last night at 19,080.50. And as we look at this, what are we expecting? Well, right now we are trading above yesterday's value area high. However, from a D-shaped profile, we've already broke to the upside. So is this going to be nothing more than a trap? And now we're going to start coming back down, testing out some of these lower levels we have to the downside. We'll talk about the overnight volume profile levels here in just a bit. Now, as we come over and take a look at the SPY, what do we see? Well, we have a wick on the bottom, wick on the top. We've had a pretty good retracement on the way back up. Now, SPY was able to fill both of the gaps from last week, and now we're really trading right into this high volume area on the composite profile. Right now, the SPY is up $1.50 in pre-market, and we're going to see, do we start to get a turn to either form that higher low or equal low on the SPY? On the 4 hour chart, MACD indicator still looks strong at this moment, and on the 1 hour chart, this is where it starts to get a little bit dicey. The MACD indicator starting to roll over. However, we are trading above the last couple days highs. Then we look out here on the volume profile in the 30-minute chart, the MACD indicator is already crossed to the downside. You can see right now we're trading above yesterday's price, and value area high will come in at a price point of 544.58. Point of control will be 543.19, and value area low will come in at 542.62. Now, one thing to note, as long as we are above yesterday's high, then guess what? There's no need to try to short this market. Let's wait and see. Can we get back below it? If the answer is yes, then we can target value area high. We can target the point of control. We can target value area low. But if we do start coming down today and we get below value area low and we start coming back up, we then need to look for the rotation trade on the way back up. As we jump over and look at the futures markets real quick, what do we see? Well, we're almost all the way up here at 5508.75, which is another untested point of control out here on the weekly chart. And as we look at this, we've had a pretty good range, but look all week long, just chugga. No pullbacks throughout this week so far. On the daily chart, what do we see? Well, we had a D as in dog shape profile. We first broke to the upside. Will this be able to hold? Or are we going to come slapping back down towards yesterday's point of control at 5467.75? Keep in mind, we do have a lot of economic news out this morning. And as long as we can stay above the daily value area high, which from yesterday, and we can stay above the overnight value area high, there's no need to short the market. However, if we start violating the overnight value area high, then we're going to want to play the overnight volume profile levels to the downside along with the prior day's volume profile levels. And one of the areas I will be watching is going to be this 5467.75, which is yesterday's untested point of control. All right, the economic data came out at 8:30 a.m. Core retail sales came in at 0.4 versus 0.1. Retail sales month over month came in at 1% versus 0.4, previously negative 0.2. Unemployment claims came in way better than expected, 227,000 versus 236. Empire State Manufacturing came in better than expected, minus 4.7, previously minus 6.6. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index is the only data point this morning that came out that did not beat expectations. And if we look at what the markets are doing, look right here. We have major movements out here in the market, which means we're going to have some quite large gaps to contend with. We come over and we look at the NASDAQ, for example. Look at this big candle on the way up. And we still have that point of control down there. Now, will it be the Gaza ceasefire talks that gets the market going back down? Or is there no looking back in the markets only going higher from here? Notice the NASDAQ has now completed that ABC pattern, and we're getting into that area where we got to be a little bit cautious. However, we want to take it one trade at a time. If we look at the overnight volume profile levels, as the NASDAQ continues to make new session highs, value area high will come in at 19,207.50. Well, we're way above that. The point of control will be 19,165.00. Value area low will be 19,109.50. So just be mindful, as long as we're above value area high, the path to least resistance is higher. Now, I do think at some point today, we will come back and test this value area high at 19,207. We come over and look at the S&P 500, just a rocket ship on the way up. Big candle, but we got to ask ourselves, is this an exhaustion candle? And I want you guys to look right here on the profile, all right? We have basically a minus development area right along here. You can see how thin the volume profile is. The market should come back and test that area at some point today. Now, value area high is going to come in at 5492.00. The point of control will be 5485.50. Value area low will come in at 5476.50. So keep in mind, at some point we will come back and test that level, but as long as we're above value area high, just know the path to least resistance is higher. However, I do want to caution you guys on that statement because we are now reaching critical levels where we could see reactions on the way back down, and we'll see if that unfolds today. You guys know my MO. When the market has major gaps in the market, we need to be very careful, especially after an extended move on the way back up. And if you guys want to learn how to spot absorption in the market using 2 order flow techniques, watch this video right here.